What's happening? What has been the best compliment that you have received for She Too?
Ladies first. Since it is she, Aditi has to answer.
So I think since now that the season has done a good run, the best compliment I have received is when is the season 3 coming? So I think that is like a huge compliment. Yeah, the season has been doing well.
And this in the first season, it was all about Bhumi and Sasya. In the second season, you chose to make it a story between Bhumi and Nayak. And the second, in the second season, of course, that the liaison between the two is a much more mature version of a love affair. And also the psychological level on which she operates has become, one notch higher. She also becomes clever. She also becomes a little selfish. She also becomes self-centered, and she learns to play on both the sides. So tell me, who have been the writers who have worked on the second season? Because hats off to the writers also.
Like, I'm the principal writer for the show.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, where was this Imtiaz Ali hiding? The Imtiaz Ali that we have seen in Jab We Met and Socha Ratha and films like those gushy films like that. This is quite a surprise to see this avatar of yours, Imtiaz.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're saying that. And I feel that any human being has, his experiences change, and there are so many things inside one person. So I got to show a different side of my interest or talent or whatever,
Yeah.
like thoughts about that.
It has the complexity of the character. Aditi is what took me by surprise. She is so complex. She's not just led, she also came across as a confused woman to me. Sometimes I thought that she has a lack of confidence, she has a lack of integrity, and that other times I thought she's really wicked. So this is quite a gray character, and we are not very used to watching gray women characters on screen, especially in your movies. I mean, I could not have expected this from an Imtiaz Ali production. Where does this grayness of her character comes from, and why did you think that she would be liked by the audience?
Well, I hoped that she would be liked by the audience, and I feel that in the case of Bhumi, the paradigm was constantly shifting. And with the paradigms, morality was shifting. You knew that this is good and that is bad, but the basis on which you had made those assumptions changes. Suddenly there is a different level of survival that you are faced with, and that Bhumi was faced with. And then in order to survive, she did a lot of things and in that journey, she realized that everything that she was thinking is bad is not so bad, or there is good and bad is good. Like if you see the sign of the yin and the yang, there is a little black inside the white, in the heart of the white, and vice versa. And then when you see that, like when she realizes that with Nayak, with that kind of criminal setup, there is the butterfly of freedom in that world. That is how evil, or that is how darkness can seduce someone, So I was interested in that journey for Bhumi, also because the choice of surviving is the only choice she takes, that main jiyegi. Sab ji rahe, main bhi jiyegi. Main maregi nahi. After that, once you say that, then you have to go because you've been put into a certain world. So it was interesting when I think the moralities of Bhumi was being challenged.
And we know that She Too is actually trending in Netflix global top 10 right now.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that? And what do you think is that one thing about the season that has really made it work?
I think my reaction to that is like, this is very, very gratifying, because I have been watching shows and movies from all across the world, from South America to Japan to here, and then to have somebody else watch what I have made in these places is something which is quite, personally gratifying.
That's true. That's true. Aditi, let me come to you. Like I said, this character is quite an edgy character. It has very strong connotations of likes and dislikes. I mean, the kind of boldness that your character had to show on screen, the kind of scenes that you had to exhibit on screen and enact on screen. Did it put you at unease at times and in a frame of mind thinking, how would it be received by the Indian audience? Though we know that
Well,
on
honestly,
platforms, edgier stories are more liked.
I was more worried about Bhumi, not about my image, very honestly. So
Mhm.
whatever was happening to Bhumi was bothering me to an extent that it didn't even occur to me what is this going to be looked upon as by the audience. So
Hmm.
every time Bhumi went through an intimate scene in her mind that I'm probably doing it out of love or I'm plotting it,
Hmm.
either way, her heart was beating at a very fast pace, because her sexuality is her biggest power, is what she has realized. But now using it and for pleasure or for something that is probably like Imtiaz sir said, survival. So
Yeah.
she's not used it because she's used it because she doesn't have a choice at some intervals,
Yeah.
but she also knows that there is something that she's discovered about herself during this process. So this is quite a complicated thought and a very complex journey of anybody. This could be a real person. So for me, taking care of Bhumi as a character was of utmost importance, compared to thinking what would people think about me. So I have only done and taken care of my character like my own. So because there was no inhibition when I was doing that, so there is no talk about probably Aditi has done a bold scene or Aditi has done this or how could she do this or in India this doesn't happen. I have not really received uh, a kind of a appreciation, or rather, how would you now, what would you look forward to do in Bollywood because you've done such a strong character. Instead, I have received mails from women who said that we've gotten courage, power, we physically, financially and emotionally
Yeah.
have started taking our power back.
First season was between more about Sasya, played by Vijay Verma, and Bhumika. This time he chose to make Nayak the super villain. And Nayak is somebody who's portrayed by Kishore Kumar, a very good actor from down south. And he actually belongs to Kerala. Why did you, was this imperative that you had to take the story to Kerala or some other different region, or it just happened? Because I quite like the antagonist. I found his performance and the way his character was written brilliant.
Erstwhile Andhra Pradesh is what I was going for. And there's a place called Rayalaseema over there, which has a history of a certain type of violence. So I kind of borrowed from that idea of people like killing each other, families in the rural areas. And then from there spurts this dark flower called Nayak and how he takes over the underworld of the country. So that came through and it looks very interesting. It's almost like when you see a Mexican film, you don't know what they're talking about, but it's very intriguing and it's a culture.
Yes, yes.
So that is how we start the show, for instance, season 2. So I wanted that kind of a feel.
And Aditi, I've seen you in one other web show, but your branding with She is so strong that I, as a viewer, want to see you just in She and nothing else. The imagery that your face has become so synonymous with She and Bhumi Pardeshi that it'll be difficult for me to fathom and kind of just absorb you as an actor in any other role. Do you think sometimes playing a character becomes so synonymous with yourself that adding variety to your career as an actor becomes difficult?
That would be amazing for me because it will be a challenge. And if I prove it to you as an audience that I can also be someone else while I can be Bhumika, and I would love to take that challenge because I already have done a character in another show called Ashram where I play a wrestler. And I was shooting for these two this time at the same time. And I speak Haryanvi, Punjabi kind of a dialect in that. So people have accepted me as Pammi at that time. It was very difficult for me to switch from Bhumi to Pammi and Pammi to Bhumi, but I have managed. So if I think in the future it will be great to do different parts, and it'll be great to be with Bhumi also at the same time. But yeah, we all have to try different things, move on. So I'm going to do that.
And lastly, Imtiaz and Arif, is She 3 on the way too? Because I see you've left it open-ended again.
Yeah, so I think if people like She 2, then they will tell the service, which is Netflix, that they want a She 3, and then we will be put back into action. So yeah, it really depends on if if there's a demand of it, people want to see more.
Thank you so much, Imtiaz. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Arif. And of course,
मुझे भी
Pleasure.
अच्छा लगेगा ये, अगर ऐसा इम्तियाज सर बोलते वो मेरे को भी अच्छा लगेगा.
मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगा तुम दोनों तीनों से बात करके. बहुत अच्छा लगा. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you so much. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye bye.